Okay, hey guys, how's it going? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the best epic heroes in Raid Shadow Legends. So pretty much kind of break down the top 5, what to look for. If you got these pulls, that's awesome. These are really good heroes. So I'm going to be weighting this list more so for PvE content just because the rewards are so much better. So if you're good in Clan Boss, if you're good in Dungeons, those are the characters that are going to be weighted way higher than, say, like arena characters, arena or farmers. It's going to be, yeah, so they're going to be kind of, they're still good characters, but they're just more specific and the rewards are not nearly as good, so they're just not going to be rated as high. So the first character we're going to be talking about, this is pretty much universally, she's universally discussed as the best character, best epic in the game, which is Juliana. Reason being is the combination of all the things she has in her kit is pretty unprecedented compared to other characters. Like, she's the only one that has, it has a HP burn and poison. So let's just go over her moves and I'll explain why she's just amazing. So the first thing, she has a 2-hit on her auto that also fills up turn meter if it crits. And so you're going to be building her like full crit rate just because she has so many things that proc off crit chance. And so 2-hit on her auto, so it's already a good start, and it gives her turn meter, so she gets more turns. So just a solid A1. Then, this is where it starts to get good, is her A2 places a 30% crit rate buff on this champion, then attacks one enemy 2 times, places a 5% poison debuff on the target for 3 turns if the attack is critical, and then will ignore 50% of okay, so, and then this part of it doesn't really matter. You're never going to pair her with Romero anyway. He's not that good. And then lastly, we got A3, which is attacks one enemy, removes 1 random buff on the target, and has a 75% chance of placing an HP burn debuff for 3 turns. So the key things that I want to highlight here are she has not only a poison, but an HP burn. Also, they're for 3 turns, which is just insane. Most of them are for 2 turns, and most people don't have the combination of an HP burn and a poison, let alone a good so everything about her, just that combination is going to make her absolutely incredible for Clan Boss, and that's why she's number 1 on the epics list here. So if you have her, she's dope. Congrats. She's what everyone's looking to get. And the next on the list is going to be here in High Elves. I would say, like, this, after her, pretty much none of this is in order. It's just going to be, he's also a very good character, which is Terrell. Here, another staple of Clan Boss. Pretty much, if you see all the top runs, he's in there. Reason being, let's go over his kit really quick. It's going to be, so the first thing about this guy, he doesn't really stand out. He doesn't look surprisingly good, but when you compare him to other characters, he's actually incredible. He's actually like really awesome. So the first thing is going to be is A1, which is attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 40% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. Damage is inflicted proportional to defense. So he's all, if you'll see all his moves here, so super survival. These characters that are based on defense are really awesome because not only are you getting the survivability from the defense, but you're getting all their damage through defense. So it's very hard to kill these characters. And his aura is actually pretty good, which is 25% defense in all battles. But main reason why you bring him is for his A1, which is the reducing the decreased attack. Not many characters have this ability, let alone characters that are good, and then all the rest of them are good too. So you have a 50% decreased attack on a 2-hit, so the odds are pretty high that it's going to apply. And then also, when you skill him up, he has a 100% chance of decreasing defense. So he's bringing both utility to, so he's adding survivability. He's incredibly survivable by himself, and he's adding defense down to boost up the damage of the rest of your team. So just that combination right there is insane for the Clan Boss and just all dungeons in general. He's just really splashable, good on Minotaur, good, and then for other dungeons, he has his A3 here. I don't want to forget about, because you don't use this in the Clan Boss, but it's a very good move because it reduces turn meter. So especially in dungeons like Minotaur and Spider, stuff that you need, that turn meter reduction actually works in. It's a very good move. So super good character, good, just a staple in like pretty much everything dungeon / Clan Boss oriented. And then third, I wanted to talk about of Rask here. So Rask is super cool. Very interesting kit. You're not your typical take on what a healer would be, but the reason why he's so good is his throughput. His healing is just insane. And so how his kit works is attacks when enemy fills this champion's turn meter by 20% if this attack is critical. So and then his passive here is heals all allies by 10% of his max HP, which is when he inflicts a critical hit. So if you see here, his base max HP is, I was looking through it, it's either tied with the top, or he's easily one of the highest base max HP characters in the entire game. The rest of his stats are not great, but when it comes to his HP, it's just so much higher than everyone else's. So, and then it's all based off his max HP. So it's insane to see exactly how much he heals for. So, and then his A2 is like nothing right on him about. Pretty much all you're going to be doing is this one because it fills his turn meter, and then abusing his passive. And he has his aura, increases LA defense in dungeon by 33%. Nothing insane, but still pretty useful. So this character going to add a lot of survivability to dungeon runs, especially. Okay in clan boss, like okay to really good in clan boss. There is other options that people have been using, but he's just overall an insane character, especially when the dungeons are going to get harder. Like if they ever release, beyond 15, I can see this guy being incredibly useful for clearing those. Steel Skull. So this guy's dope. What makes him so good? Support character. He has a combination of not only really good supportive tools, but he also has deceptively high damage, especially when you get to the War Master side. Here's his A1. Attacks one enemy 2 times, has a 10% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns, which is great to have on his auto, especially when it hits twice. Put on War Master on this guy, he's actually doing decent damage. If you actually skill book him, you're going up to a 25% chance on a 2 hit. So actually solid apply rate when it comes to this guy, and so it's solid damage out of this dude. And then he has a very good heal here that removes debuff. So on the clan boss, especially when he does that punch and he stuns a guy, he goes and he cleanses that off and lets him actually get to go. And then adds a lot of survivability with the places a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns. Heals all allies by 20% of their max HP. So that combination goes on a 4 turn, goes on a 3 turn when you skill book him up. So he's actually a character that would be worth considering throwing your epic tomes on, I would say. Just overall really good character, and has been replacing a lot of, he's been probably like the staple healer in clan boss nowadays. What I've been seeing when I see like the top damage dealers, there's usually always a Steel Skull on the team. Next on the list is Skull Crusher. This character is really good. What makes him so good is he's a very unique move that not many characters have. And so I'm talking like, I want to say about 3 characters have this ability. 3 to 4, which is giving your teammates counterattack. So let's just go through his moves real quick, but that's going to be the main reason why he's so good. Is he's just very unique, and it's very impactful. So its first move is Smash. Attacks one enemy, places a 50% heal reduction debuff. If the target's defense is lower than the champion's, nothing to write home about there. But then here's like the main reason why he's really good. Places a 50% ally protection buff on allies except this champion for 2 turns. Places a counterattack buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Places an unkillable buff on this champion for 1 turn. So very good combination of the ally protection because he's going to be taking the damage and unkillable. But then mainly it's going to be the counterattack. So having the counterattack in the clan boss is going to really help, especially when the clan boss gets a lot faster. Having that ability to spread across all your damage dealers is going to massively increase your clan boss damage. And then lastly is a really good passive, which is decreases the duration of all buffs by the champion by 1 turn at the start of each turn. So he even if he has a move, it would, for a debuff to actually apply to him, it would need to be at least 2 turns because it cleanses it before the effects happen. So if he gets poisoned, if he gets stunned, it all gets cleansed before the effect takes place. So a very good passive as well. But then just being able to have this ability here is just so nuts the later you go when speed gets really tough, because like when you're getting to the like brutal and nightmare clan bosses, their speed and the resistance is just so much higher, that basing all your damage around Giant Slayer and War Master is going to be a very effective strategy, especially when you don't have to worry about speed too much, because you're just all your damage is going to come through counterattacking. So that's why Skull Crusher easily makes this list. Very unique kit. Only character I can think of being better than him would probably be, again, for what he's trying to do is Martyr here. And then, everyone says this chick is like easily one of the best legendaries in the game. So that, I hope that gives you an idea of just how good Skull Crusher is. Okay. So lastly, it's going to be Seeker. And so I think, these two characters here, Gorgorab and Seeker, are very similar. I would say out of the two, like they both have pros and cons. Seeker or Gorgorab is really good because he has the speed aura. So if you don't have a good speed aura, then he's absolutely going to be the one that you need to put in. But when you look at the rest of the kit, if you take the speed aura out of the kit, Seeker has the better options. When you compare the two, the main reason why you bring these two characters is going to be the turn meter fill and their increased attack buff. So with Seeker, he has fills turn meter by all allies by 30%, and then places a 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns, and then grants an extra turn. Whereas with Gorgorab, what he does is he fills the turn by only 15%, but then also in places the 50% increased attack buff. And then he's good too, 'cause he has the revive dead allies. But then when you look at the base stats here, base stats actually really matter, especially when it comes to arena, these are what these two characters excel at. Seeker having this better base speed is definitely a big factor. A lot of people probably, if you have both, I can see just using both. You can have the speed aura with Gorgorab, and then the better turn meter fill with the attack buff. Having both is going to be nice too. Just both of these characters are good, but then here soon, especially with patch 1.8 potentially happening here quick, more and more people are going to be getting Arbiter, and Arbiter is just objectively better than both of these characters, having the 30% turn meter and then the 50% increased attack buff. But until then, I think both of these characters are really good, and so they definitely make the list when it comes to best epic characters. So, all right, guys. Okay, lastly, I wanted to do a quick rundown of some like honorable mentions of also good epic characters, but just get edged out of the top 5. I'm gonna go with Royal Guard, great character. Reason being why he's super good is he's just very consistent, decreased defense apply rate on his A1. He does a lot of damage with his max HP move on his A2 here, and then he has turn meter decrease on his A3. Really good dungeon character and a really good aura too, with his 35% increased attack on dungeons. Increased attack is not necessarily the best when it comes to clan boss, but for dungeons is actually really good because of those percentage moves don't really hit as hard. So very good dungeon character, solid character, not going to be top 5, but a very solid epic character in that dude. Also another really good character is going to be Allure here in the Demon Spawn. Main reason being her attacks 3 times at random, decreases the target's turn meter by 25% on each hit. So if you could combine it, Terrell, Royal Guard, Allure, you're going to be making these like dungeon bosses just not move if you manipulating all that turn meter. So that's why Allure is super good. Also 3-hit really Giant Slayer. So good character there, mainly for dungeons. Also pretty good in arena too. I think you would have to build her completely different. Are you trying to go for a dungeon cheese type build, or are you going for like a really high damage arena character? Because like this move is gonna completely wreck people. Attacks one enemy has a 30% chance of inflicting a critical hit, and then it will ignore 50% of target's defense. So she hits like a truck in arena. Also very good in dungeons. So this chick is good. Nizan is good. You get a character with attacks all enemies on 2 moves here. This is just a really solid character. Going to be good in Spider. Couple more characters. We got these like the twins here in Sinesha and Skullcrown. I see Skullcrown all the time in arena. Her passives where she's on places unkillable buff on her. So she just super solid. See her everywhere in arena, like a very popular arena character. Also this chick is really cool too. just super annoying to deal with in arena. So both of these characters are very good. So here's another good, another good character for clan boss. Gonna be Othar. Has a attacks 4 times at random and then places a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns, which is great. You know, a consistent 4 poisons for 2 turns, gonna be a ton of damage. Also has a, you know, attacks 2 times. And then it can 15% chance of stealing a 1 random buff. So not the greatest apply rate, but attacks on enemy 2 times, has a 15% chance of stealing 1 random buff on the target. So good A1, great A2 for clan boss. Only issue is it's kind of like on a longer cooldown. Well, actually, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. 4-turn cooldown. If you really want to skill book him, you can make it a 3-turn cooldown, which is actually pretty nuts. So he does a ton of damage at clan boss. Also has a 2-hit with, you can steal the attack up from the clan boss. Not something you really want to rely on. You know, like that's why people like Terrell are better, because that minus 50% attack is so much more consistent. But it is, when this actually does proc, it's pretty great to be able to steal that buff off the boss. And then Talia is good too, more of like an arena character, but she does have this, you know, attacks 1 enemy 3 times, which is great with Giant Slayer. And then also for arena that's pretty good too is, and also for Spider, is this places a counterattack buff on this champion for 2 turns, has a 75% chance of placing a 25% weaken debuff on enemies for 2 turns. So she's just overall a really good character. Like essentially like a better, you know, 3-hit character. Yeah, like a better Aethel, you know, like just, so if you get her, she's good in arena, like good, you know, she's just a really solid character, just really good. Also, this doesn't get talked about much. Epic, he's a void epic, so kind of rare, but really cool because he has a 3-hit on his auto, and then has decreased attack. So and it's guaranteed, which is cool. Even though it's on a 4-turn cooldown, could go down to 3 turns. So a guaranteed decreased attack, which is incredibly rare. And then has a 60% chance of increased defense buff and a revive on death buff. So the revive on death is not crazy, nothing to write home about. You don't really want to be, you know, basing a dude around, you know, because then it doesn't really add much. But the increased defense is really good. So pretty cool character. This character is, his viability goes up from pretty meh to amazing once you get Giant Slayer on this guy. But so cool character, don't write this guy off. I think he's solid and he's void. So I look forward to you know, getting this guy up there, getting him maxed out. I think he's going to be a very good character. All right, guys. Well, that should do it for this video. There's the top 5 epics in Raid Shadow Legends. If you guys want to have a discussion about this, if there's any really cool characters that you guys have tried that you feel like I missed out on, let me know down in the comments below. And I hope you guys have a good day. Peace.